A small group of anti-vaccination protesters have showed up outside the hotel where Novak Djokovic is being detained in support of the men's world number one. Some people have a megaphone. There are others here with their slogans and their signs. There are also asylum seeker advocates here who are showing their support for the refugees detained in the same hotel as Novak Djokovic. Of course, a group of them have been detained in some form of detention in Australia for some 8.5 years, and they've been housed in this particular hotel for some time since late 2020. But police are on hand here to try and make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. Last night there were some quite tense scenes when police met with protesters, Novak Djokovic fans, who earlier were quite peaceful in their chanting and singing in support of Novak Djokovic, and there were also some asylum seeker advocates here. A couple of people were arrested for allegedly climbing the awning of this hotel and spray painting on the edifice. But at the moment, it is building, but as I say, there is a police presence here.
And so that is where Novak Djokovic will remain while he pursues his legal avenues to stay in the country?
Correct. There was a hearing in the Federal Circuit Court yesterday, a couple of hearings in fact, which was the start of Djokovic's legal bid to challenge this decision by Australian Border Force to revoke his visa and try and deport him. An injunction against the deportation was allowed, effectively allowing Djokovic to stay in the country until at least Monday, when the case will return to the court, and we're expected to hear a little bit more details of the case itself. The Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews spoke this morning, and she made it clear that Djokovic is not being held captive, as was the words of his mother yesterday overnight. Karen Andrews said that Novak Djokovic is free to leave whenever he pleases, and in fact that Border Force would actually facilitate that. She went on to say that Djokovic did have a visa issued to him, so that's a separate issue to the entry requirements themselves, but the Border Force had determined he did not meet those entry requirements because he was not fully vaccinated. Have a listen to what Minister Andrews said.
Mr Djokovic is not being held captive in Australia. He is free to leave at any time that he chooses to do so, and Border Force will actually facilitate that. In relation to other people who are in immigration detention, whether it be in a hotel in Melbourne or whether it be elsewhere in Australia, those people are there because they don't have a valid visa, or they are here illegally here in Australia for maybe a number of reasons. We treat all people who are in immigration detention fairly.
Tom, what has the Victorian government had to say on this?
Well, Kirsten, that of course was the federal government representative, but there's clearly a tussle going on between state and federal authorities, and quite a bit of buck passing ever since that medical exemption was granted controversially to Novak Djokovic. So there's been some tendency among some politicians to conflate the issue of the visa itself and the entry requirements as part of the exemption granted, but the Minister Jacinta Allen did speak a short time ago. Let's have a listen to what she had to say.
Having all the arrangements in place for the event to be run successfully and safely. That's the role that the Victorian government plays and its agencies plays in various assessments. The how people participating in that event get into the country is a matter for the Commonwealth Government, who are responsible for issuing visas for people to enter the country. It's not the Victorian Government who issues visas, it's the Commonwealth Government, and how they enter the country, how players and other support staff enter the country is a matter for the Commonwealth Government.
The Victorian Minister Jacinta Allen there. So Novak Djokovic, of course, will stay at this hotel until at least Monday, when his court case resumes. But there's still a little bit to play here today, I think, Kirsten, as some of these protesters show up in support of the tennis star.